Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. This is Straight Facts Commentary where I give you my unpopular opinions in everything pop culture. So please stick around and subscribe for more. In today's video, we are going to be getting into the manipulation and control of Dr. Luke and the different artists who have gotten trapped in his snares. This video was inspired by a discourse being held on Reddit a little over a year ago. And just as a disclaimer before this video begins, it is said that 2 out of the 3 artists that I'm going to be discussing aren't currently necessarily working with Dr. Luke anymore. As we all know, Kesha isn't working with Dr. Luke, and it is said that Petras has parted ways with Dr. Luke according to sources and to fans. In today's video, we're going to be getting into the relationship dynamics between Dr. Luke and his artists Kesha, Petras, and Doja Cat a little bit more in detail. As we know, due to the allegations that were brought forth by Kesha, we have heard that Dr. Luke has been said to be a very abusive, controlling, and manipulative person to work with in the industry, and we have seen this on multiple occasions. However, knowing what we know in regards to what Kesha has revealed about him, he is still a very well-connected and powerful person in the music industry that most likely any hot new artist would probably like to be connected to in order to help navigate their career in a positive and successful mainstream direction. Petras at one point in time spoke very proudly about working with him despite the claims brought up against him, and it does seem, according to fans and other sources, that she has split ways from him at this time. Keep Petras in mind because we are going to circle back to her, but before we talk about Petras, we have to talk about the reason why Dr. Luke has such a negative connotation to his name in the first place, and that is his working relationship that he had with Kesha. Here I'll be reading snippets from an article published on npr.org that gives a brief synopsis of basically the battle between Dr. Luke and Kesha for those who might need a refresher. Pop star Kesha and producer Dr. Luke settled nearly a decade of suits and countersuits over her accusation that he drugged and raped her and his claim that she made it up and defamed him. They announced Thursday, with the singer saying that only God knows what happened that night. Dr. Luke, meanwhile, said he was absolutely certain that nothing happened. I never drugged or assaulted her. Terms of the deal were not immediately disclosed, as both she and he revealed on Instagram that they had agreed to a resolution of the case and to a statement from each of them. Messages seeking comment were sent to their attorney. Kesha's New York lawsuit was dismissed in April 2016 for jurisdiction and the statute of limitation issues. Months later, her attorney told Rolling Stone that the California suit was dropped in the hope that Kesha could return to making music. Gottwald, who was not charged with a crime, has denied all of Kesha's allegations. He won his civil case in 2020 when a judge ruled that she defamed him in court filings on social media and in private messages to the singer Lady Gaga. Kesha appealed the verdict, and the New York Court of Appeals ruled in her favor this month. The court's opinion said that Gottwald is a public figure and that he must meet a higher burden of proof that Kesha acted with actual malice when she made her statements. Kesha posted the joint statements on her verified Instagram account Thursday. Her part of the statement said she wished nothing but peace to all parties involved. Only God knows what happened that night. As I always said, her statement said, I cannot recount everything that happened. I'm looking forward to closing the door on this chapter of my life and the beginning of a new one. Gottwald reiterated his denials, saying that he vigorously fought to clear his name and wishes to move on. While this case was ultimately thrown out and nothing happened to Dr. Luke, a lot of people still stand by and believe Kesha, being that she said she was raped and also allegedly drugged. It would make sense then that Kesha is unable to recall everything that might have happened to her that night, and it doesn't somehow make anything that she's saying in regards to Dr. Luke invalid or untrue. Whatever happened between Kesha and Dr. Luke is Kesha's truth, and she has every right to speak it, whether it be in the court of law, in the court of public opinion, or any other way, and a lot of people do definitely stand by Kesha to this day.
His sense of melody is just, it's like a gift from God. It's bizarre. Everything that comes out of his mouth is incredible and is so catchy and hooky.
Kesha and music producer Dr. Luke's long-standing legal battle has finally been settled just weeks before the case was meant to go to trial. The singer revealed the two agreed to a resolution in the defamation lawsuit in a statement Thursday, saying she wished, quote, nothing but peace to all parties involved. Referring to the sexual assault allegations, she said, only God knows what happened that night. As I've always said, I cannot recount everything that happened. I am looking forward to closing this chapter of my life. In his own statement responding to Kesha, Dr. Luke said that while he appreciates her acknowledging that she can't remember everything that happened that night, he is absolutely certain that nothing happened. He went on to say that he has fought vigorously to clear his name for 10 years and is ready to move on before wishing Kesha well. Details of the settlement were not provided, but this is the culmination of a 9-year legal battle that pretty much derailed Kesha's music career. She first sued Dr. Luke in 2014, claiming he drugged and raped her in 2005. He then sued her for defamation over those claims. The case was meant to go to trial in late July, and just last week, a judge ruled that Dr. Luke was a limited public figure, meaning he would have to meet a higher burden of proof to show that Kesha acted with actual malice. To read more.
Now, let's circle back to Kim Petras. It is alleged that Kim had been working with Dr. Luke since around 2015 2016, moving outside of the court case with Kesha. And as Kim started to become more known and more popular, and started doing a lot more interviews in public press, she was positively speaking about her experiences working with Dr. Luke. A lot of people did not like this because of the case with Kesha. A lot of people felt as though she should not be working with Dr. Luke, and she shouldn't be openly speaking about her happy dealings with him.
Pop star Kim Petras defends her decision to continue working with Kesha's abuser Dr. Luke in a series of disappointing tweets. She originally tweeted, "Get talented or good at anything, then talk to me." To which somebody responded, "Stop defending Dr. Luke first then." And this is when it happens. 5 million people work with him. Why y'all only coming at me? I have nothing to say or be ashamed of at all. Go away. Nothing to be ashamed of? Girl! And then somebody replied to Kim saying, "As much as I used to love you, I cannot support the unapologetic rapist supporting on your end. It just doesn't sit right with me. Please learn from this and grow as an artist and a person, please." Which Kim completely ignored the point of that tweet and responded, "You don't support me, you don't even follow me." Kim, this is not it. Trans pop star Kim Petras is under fire for putting out an EP entirely produced by Kesha's abuser, Dr. Luke. When asked in the past about continuing to work with him after everything that has happened with Kesha, this is what Kim had to say. "I'm a big fan of his, and we write music very well together. So yeah, it was a really good experience." When asked if she would work with him again, she said, "Yeah, totally." And before I could even ask another question, Kim cuts in, "I would like my fans to know that I wouldn't work with somebody I believe to be an abuser of women. Definitely not." Well, he is an abuser of women, and you are an apologist.
The TikToks I had inserted were from 2022, and it is said as of 2024 that Kim Petras is not affiliated with Dr. Luke, according to fans and recent interviews that she did do. Fans have concluded that Kim Petras probably has silently split ways with him. Let's start with the simple fact that she hasn't worked with Dr. Luke in over a year and has parted ways with working with him. Her recent singles and upcoming single with Nicki Minaj are all free of Dr. Luke credits. In 2022, Kim gave an ID interview magazine confirming she was no longer tied to Dr. Luke. In the interview that Kim Petras did with ID, it basically stated that she was making her own music and being creatively expressive in her own ways, doing her own shit, as she says, quote unquote. So that has left fans to believe that she is creatively not working with Dr. Luke anymore. Part of the reason I wanted to make this video is because of the point that the Reddit user brought out in a discourse surrounding Kim Petras. And basically they alluded to, what if Kim Petras and a lot of artists that end up working with Dr. Luke never wanted to work with him in the first place? The Reddit user says in the post that they made a year ago in regards to Kim Petras says, "For quite some time, I've been hooked on the thought that Kim working with Luke is not her choice, at least at this particular moment. As there is no direct proof to this, I'll try to list a few points that appear weird to me and a concept that she just wants to work with him. First of all, her status as an independent artist prior to 2021. Although her team and Kim herself has stated that she was now signed, that appears to only be partly true. Kim wasn't in a contract with any major label. However, in her interview with Genius in 2019, when answering the question about Luke, she says, "Yeah, he signed me. It's like that." This comment may hint she has some kind of contract with Luke personally, and that's why she works so exclusively with him. Moving on, the second thing that I feel is odd is her current and major struggles with music releases. On April 26th, Kim posted a story on Instagram in which she states, "I don't know what's going to happen next. Please don't be cruel. I've written 3 albums worth of songs. I've cried my eyes out for months. I try not to give up. However, the following day, she backtracked on her statement, saying that her fans should not worry about a thing and that she always cries about stupid stuff. Yesterday, in her Instagram comments, Kim stated that she was doing everything she can and it makes her very sad and she hates the delay more than ever. Now, there are two things here that sound disturbingly similar to me. In reference to that post, it is said that Dr. Luke is very controlling with his artists in regards to music releases, their images, their personas, pretty much everything about them, and that if she was in a working relationship with Dr. Luke, that maybe she didn't even want to be in the first place, and that she was struggling with him from the entire time that she signed on with him. This is the tweet that the Reddit user is referring to in regards to Kim Petras having issues releasing her music and crying her eyes out about albums. Dr. Luke is known to have control over his artists when it comes to their music and artistry, like with Kesha, allegedly Kim Petras, and also artists like Doja Cat, which other examples have come out about this as well. This opens up a little bit of a formal conversation of, do artists necessarily always work with producers and talk highly about them because they just love them so much? Or is it beneficial to them in their careers to be in association with these people for the time being? And the reason why Kim Petras could possibly come off as more in love with him and, singing his praises is because he's going to benefit her at the end of the day. He's worked with super major artists that have helped skyrocket amazing careers like Kesha's and Katy Perry. And a lot of the artists that we know and love want to make it in this industry. They want to make it to the top and they want to be successful. And so, do they put aside their personal preferences and their personal feelings about people in order to try to make successful careers for themselves? Essentially, pushing aside their morals and maybe even their discomfort with the person or their actions. A lot of the times, too, we don't know what could be happening behind the scenes between artists and these executives. The only person openly left still working with Dr. Luke out of the three of these women is Doja Cat. Doja Cat is on RCA Records and Kemosabe Records, which are record labels that are directly affiliated with Dr. Luke, which she had gotten onto a long time ago, well before the Kesha case. A lot of people were getting onto Doja Cat about working with Dr. Luke without knowing that she was affiliated with him before the incident with Kesha. But Doja Cat hasn't had it easy with Dr. Luke either. She has expressed her displeasure in working with Dr. Luke in the past, while having to quickly recant her statements about him. This alone is alarming to me.
Doja Cat has been signed with Dr. Luke's Kemosabe Records since 2012. Kesha had filed suit against Dr. Luke in 2014, meaning that Doja Cat's record deal was signed before all of that came out. I believe the beginning of the Free Kesha movement was around 2013, so it sounds like Doja Cat got in right before all of that really started heating up. Doja has also voiced discontent with how overworked she feels in her current record contract. Doja Cat has said that she's completely burnt out from all the projects and partnerships that she's doing, and she's just really tired. That statement would have been around October of 2021. So Dr. Luke has writing credits on hits like Say So and Best Friend, as well as a lot of other songs by Doja Cat. And in a Rolling Stone interview, Doja Cat implied that he may have kind of slid his name into some of those songwriting credits without really contributing that much to the actual songwriting process, saying there's stuff he's credited for where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if you did anything on that. The point is, he's gotten credit for some stuff, and it's whatever. I don't think I need to work with him again. I don't think I need to work with him in the future. I know that I think it was definitely nice of me to work with him. And this interview was around December of 2021. And I think Dr. Luke's legal team got big mad because Doja Cat had to send a follow-up email saying that what she had just said in the interview could be interpreted as her implying Dr. Luke took credit on things he didn't deserve to, and she has no first-hand knowledge of that being the case. She doesn't want to participate in the rumor mill, and the credits on her music are completely accurate. I think Girlie saw what Dr. Luke has done to Kesha in the courts and said, I am not getting involved in a lawsuit. But yeah, Dr. Luke's record label is Kemosabe Records, and there are a lot of artists that are signed through them. It is difficult to understate the amount of power and influence that this man still holds within the music industry, despite credible and consistent allegations of abuse that have come from Kesha. And I think that Doja Cat has probably been legally threatened and overworked by his label as well. In my opinion, allegedly. Don't sue me, Dr. Luke.
Everything in regards to Doja Cat's affiliation with Dr. Luke worries me, being that she got with Dr. Luke before these allegations with Kesha came about is super scary, because if he's willing to do crazy things allegedly to Kesha, I can imagine what other artists could potentially be going through behind the scenes without even being able to speak. That is the part about it that makes me feel uncomfortable. If he has allegedly victimized Kesha, then who knows what other artists he has victimized with control, possible manipulation in other types of ways. I just hope that Doja Cat is okay, healthy, and safe. But she doesn't seem to be having very much fun being affiliated with RCA Records or Kemosabe Records and her music career in general. As you see, Doja Cat is constantly spiraling out of control. She's never happy. And Dr. Luke is directly affiliated with her career, and she's had issues with him in the past. I honestly pray for anybody who's working with Dr. Luke, because obviously he's not a good person and he's a very slimy individual in the industry. I personally feel at the pit of my gut that nobody really wants to work with Dr. Luke at the end of the day. I feel as though a lot of these artists get signed to these record labels, get attached to these producers, and people who are going to help them with their career at the end of the day. So I feel as though they have to deal with whoever they have to deal with in order for them to have successful careers, whether that be Kesha, Doja Cat, Petras, Katy Perry, anybody who's worked specifically with Dr. Luke probably has to ensure that they have a successful mainstream career, irregardless of how they might personally feel about him. Especially with Doja Cat, him making her basically recant her statements out of pure intimidation. It's really sad to see the pattern of people who speak highly about him or retract what they say just because of his industry pull. What an influence he seems to have over these careers. And working with someone who is allegedly an abuser, I can imagine how scary that could be. I definitely feel that there is a lot of control, manipulation, and intimidation happening behind the scenes in the music industry. But because you are a mainstream artist and you want to be successful, you end up doing things and dealing with things that you shouldn't. Let me know what you guys think of this video down below. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.